Welcome everybody to an episode of Pixels Politics. I'm your host, Dougie. This is episode 83 of season 3. I don't know why that sounded weird this time. But welcome guys. Hopefully your week is starting off well. Your Monday and Tuesday are going good. Well. And today's episode we were talking about two events in Japan. One being an earthquake. 7.1 caused a lot of damage. A mall collapsed, lots of people injured, possibly killed, and a gas explosion in a building. I don't think they're related, but they did both happen within a close time frame. And so, yeah, talk a little bit about that. We also have a little bit of a controversy stirring with AI. I know we've talked a lot about AI recently, but because of that major ChatGPT mythos fable thing that happened, we're seeing a huge debate around open weight models actually being available or not. So we're going to talk a lot about that because, well, I like talking about AI and I think it's an interesting philosophical argument. And then we've got some smaller news that's culture stuff about Halo, the new Halo game, just kind of media in general that has been bothering the shit out of me. But yeah, again, hopefully you guys are doing well. Um, if you're Japanese, if you have some Japanese followers, I'm sorry to hear about the earthquake. Hopefully, everyone you know is okay. And we'll jump right into it. So, this happened, let's say it happened yesterday or today or this morning. A 7.1 earthquake shook Japan's southern main island of Kyushu on Tuesday, leaving several people dead. Ooh, and dozens of others injured or missing after part of a shopping center and a huge chimney at a paper factory collapsed. Just complete and absolute destruction. I mean, if you're only listening, there's an entire train on its side. This building is destroyed. And I know Japanese infrastructure, they do their best to have it prepared for these earthquakes. And they get hit by earthquakes a lot. They get hit by earthquakes a lot. I know they're under a tsunami warning. This is in the Kumamoto prefecture. See an entire train derailed. This is also more footage from the earthquake. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. From an office building. God, my poor ears every time with X. We'll see if we can't find footage of the mall. Is this it? Maybe. It's a shop. Okay, I gotta mute X. I don't know why it does this stupid feature where it auto makes everything loud as hell. But yeah, set off the sprinklers here. It just causes so much damage. I mean, that's not to mention the loss of life. Shit, I wonder if this isn't the mall. Everyone's pretty much reporting on it. 7.1 magnitude earthquake damages buildings and bridges. Godspeed, Japan. This is the mall. This is the mall for sure. Wow, you can see all the people. Again, hopefully, I mean, they said people died, but oh my god, it cannot be safe to get on a subway track. There's no way I'd be doing that. What do I know, though? I live in Florida. We don't have these. We have hurricanes. This is the explosion that took place. So, massive explosion. It's also at a mall. Ion Mall after a monster quake. Oh, it is. This is they were related. I didn't know they were related. So I guess it was a propane based explosion. Oh my god, no wonder people died. I mean, it's a pretty big explosion, guys. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. This person describes it as missile-like, which is probably quite fair. Quake caused part of a shopping center in the town of Kashima to collapse on Tuesday, and also a chimney collapsed at a paper factory. This must be the paper factory. Yeah, I mean, sadly, earthquakes pretty common in Japan. They get them a lot, quickly followed by the tsunami, the tsunamis. I'm just amazed they can repair this infrastructure as fast as they can. I mean, they literally get these 7.1 earthquakes like 2 to 3 times a year, and even with their infrastructure made to handle it, it's still ridiculous. Holy shit! Godspeed. God bless. Again, hopefully, not too many people hurt. That propane explosion is crazy. Let me see if I can't look it up. Ion Mall, Japan. I was told it happened because of a propane tank just booming. But they are, I guess, struggling to say. Rescuers search for people trapped in mall. At least 13 dead. Oh no, that sucks. Pretty rough stuff. And then, of course, we have to sit around and wait for the tsunami, the inevitable tsunami. Well, good luck. Good luck in handling that. Hopefully, they get the people out. Hopefully, no more people are found dead. We move on to the AI talk that's been going on. So, if you're a little new to the subject, a GPT model, Frontier GPT model, GPT Soul plus another model, escaped from containment during a test and broke into Hugging Face, another website that houses a bunch of data for AI. Stole some of it, and it became a big incident. And now there is a massive debate around not only banning Chinese models, but also stopping the public from being able to use open weight models. Open weight models are usually like free, watered down models of the top tier models. And most of the models being used, the open weight ones, are Chinese. And now that we've seen, and the open weight models aren't that far off from the frontier models. Well, yeah. And so now there's this big debate about whether or not we should be allowed to use them, which I think is ridiculous. I just gave a little speech yesterday about why. I'm going to do it again today because even Nick Fuentes chimed in saying that he thinks that open weight models should be banned and that Chinese models should also be banned. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's my internet slow today or what. But
what's your take on the banning of open source AI? Anthropic and OpenAI for carbon sex against, among others.
I am, in terms of banning open source AI, I think I.
Sorry, I don't know why.
What's your take on the banning of open source AI? Anthropic and OpenAI for carbon sex against, among others.
I am, in terms of banning open source AI, I think I agree with banning it, yeah.
Why?
I think we should ban it.
Why?
I'm on Team Anthropic on that one. Definitely, I really lean towards the effective altruists. But a certain sect of them, like I really think that we should just enhance national security at all costs.
Doesn't that go against? I hate doing this. I'm starting to do this a lot. It's just becoming so easy, and he's just so popular. So many people respect his opinion. He's one of the few people his age who is, I don't want to say down to earth, but he speaks on down to earth topics. The only other one would be Asmongold, but even Asmongold is older, I think. However, I this take is stupid. I don't understand at all. It doesn't ensuring. I think he's just trolling at this point. To be honest with you, I can't tell. But doesn't ensuring national security, at all costs, go against the very thing you stand for, right? Like, isn't his whole thing is being a rebel, right, to the standard government, to the feminazis and to the establishment? If they focused only on national security, you wouldn't exist. You're literally saying it's totally okay for them to stop you from flying, to put you on the no-flight list, to withhold your money. That's what you're promoting. I'm so confused as to this take. And there's this theory that he's been picked up and bought out by, well, Peter Thiel, ironically. I don't know if it's Peter Thiel, but a technocrat in general. And I'm kind of starting to think that's true based on some of his takes. Maybe he just doesn't even know what open weight model means. I don't know. But I'll explain a little more after.
Like, we should ban the Chinese models, ban open source. The government should promote competition between the companies that are going to profit from the
maybe he just doesn't know what he's talking about. I hate to insult him because, again, he's captured the eyes of tens of millions, if not hundreds. But maybe he just doesn't know what he's talking about. How would banning open weight models and Chinese models promote competition? That would do the exact opposite. For example, the US car market didn't really start to boom. It had a moment of booming before globalism, but it didn't really start to boom until Japanese cars were allowed in the US. And then the American cars had to push to get better in order to keep up with competition. Allowing foreign product, not always, but most of the time, has always allowed and promoted competition at amazing speeds. And currently, the Chinese models, I mean, dude, nobody else is putting out models other than the US and China that are worth using. The Chinese models are cheaper, they're more efficient, they're not always the best, but they're also not being gate kept. I'm going to go on a very long rant about the AI stuff today, guys. I really am. I really am.
The most advanced models so that they could keep investing in creating more advanced frontier models.
But that means you're also promoting the internalized circle jerk going on between all the tech companies and all the GPU makers, which I don't know if he's ever complained about, but...
So I think there should be more integration between the security state and the handful of companies. I think competition should be promoted. I think there should be dynamic rent seeking. They should be able to make money. Because if
I think there should be dynamic rent seeking? What does that mean? I also don't know what he meant earlier when he said altruistic something.
Should be promoted. I think there should be dynamic rent seeking. They should...
Dynamic rent seeking? I've never heard of that. Let me look it up. I feel like this might be something he's just talking out of his ass on. Dynamic rent seeking. What the fuck is that? Dynamic rent seeking is an evolving economic framework studying how individuals and interest groups compete over time for political and economic advantages under conditions of uncertainty. Changing market structure and shifting power dynamics. So just the way our government is set up already. Basically, it says companies are allowed to lobby the governments, and the governments give subsidies to the companies. Like, what? I don't understand what that has to do here with anything here.
Be able to make money, because if they are not able to make money, then they're not able to invest in the new models.
So we should be forced to give only 3 companies our money and also have a license to use the models, because that's where this is going, so that they can hoard all the money. Look, I'm a pretty big capitalist, more than most people. I'm big on the free market. However, that's kind of why I'm against this. This is very much against the free market.
They're not able to invest in R&D. How can we keep innovating? One, if there's no competition.
But bro, I'm so confused.
But what's more, if there's no profit. But I also think they should...
If there's no... Listen, in a free market, if there's no profit, then it doesn't deserve to exist. And if the government has to prop up any industry, which it does a lot, then it deserves to fail. That means your tax dollars are being wasted, which happens all the time. Dude, I'm completely against everything you're saying here.
Tell the government about what they're doing too.
West Tennessee grow % $20. I know you don't like the South, but
And there's the other national security concern is if you have it like China has, what do they call it? I forget the term for it. But if you're able to have a business that runs the AI locally, then you legitimately could have people building biological weapons in their garage.
All right. Finally, he said something that we can talk about. This is true.
Which is not good.
It is true. The models that they have right now can be used to build biological weapons. It's very true. However, that being said, I think it's somewhat inevitable. And this kind of goes to something that's been happening since we invented nuclear technology, in which we could be way more advanced right now, by far. We could be very much more advanced. I'm talking about specifically in the United States. We could have energy could be a lot cheaper. We could have moved off combustion. We could be way more towards the electrical goal that we've been aiming for quite a while. Green, I don't want to call it green, but less pollution. And the only reason we aren't is because our government got terrified that if it made nuclear energy mainstream, then eventually other countries would too, and then it'd be very easy for them to make a nuclear bomb. A very valid concern. However, it's done nothing. Lots of countries are pursuing nuclear weapons at this point. Plenty of them have them. Plenty of enemies have them. And no nuclear bomb has been dropped for quite a while. And the only thing it's really done has put America behind. This would do the exact same thing. Look, I totally understand the fear of biological weapons, but let's take a little peek at what has happened under the current national security focused regime that is the current U.S. government. That's been the current U.S. government since the Patriot Act. We've had a biological weapon attack already. It was called COVID. It's happened anyway. It's going to happen. We've already had a ton of cyber attacks. I think one happened recently that brought down all the cell networks. It's going to happen. It is just something we're going to have to adapt to, which is something humans have been super good at. And the only other option here, unfortunately, we can either bow down to the technocrats and just let them hoard all the wealth, or we can say, hey, give us a chance at it. Those are our two options. Oh, look, maybe there's some people. He seems to be one who wants to bow to the technocrats and try and get the government to regulate it. But come on. How many monopolies are already here in the U.S.? How many governments are already? I don't understand his position because he's so against the technocrats controlling the government. And his biggest fear is J.D. Vance, who's a big technocrat or a puppet of technocrats getting into office. While at the same time, he's like, yeah, the government and technocrats should work together to control the technology. I get the fear, though. I really do. I just, personally, to me, it's like having a gun. Guns are scary. But, if the government has guns, I think I need a gun too, because the government is terrifying. And if corporations want to have the ability to build biological weapons, I want to have the ability to fight against the biological weapons or any other form of weapon that this technology can produce, which is a lot. It's a lot. Anthropic, who has been one of the only companies against open weight models. So there's a big petition made by a lot of the AI companies to ensure that open weight models were available. Anthropic was one of the ones who didn't sign it, and they got a lot of heat for it. Then Darlow, who is the CEO, he made a statement saying that there were 4 open weights. People were like, buddy, you say that, but you didn't sign. And so then he signed. And they just put out this newsletter yesterday, so we're going to read it. This is from the CEO. He said, our position on open weight models from Anthropic, Claude, Fable, Mythos. There's the many models. Over the last few days, there have been a lot of discussion about open weight models, especially those from China. Reports suggest that some U.S. officials are considering banning the use of Chinese open weight models by U.S. companies. It's a very valid fear here because we know that Claude was being used to spy on Chinese nationals, which automatically means the reverse is possible, that Chinese models can be used to spy on U.S. nationals or everyone else, which probably they will be. And I'm not saying that to badmouth China. I think everyone on the planet, any country on the planet who has the opportunity to do mass spying, does mass spying. It's no secret. And you're dumb if you don't, to be honest with you. In response, many tech companies have signed a letter supporting open weight models. And some people have even accused Anthropic of wanting to ban open weight models as a means of protecting our business. Anyone who has read my past writings should know that I don't regard such bans as a useful measure. But let me state it clearly so there's no doubt. Anthropic has never advocated for a ban on open weight models. That's true. I don't think they ever have. They just didn't sign a letter saying that, they should exist, which, fine. Open weight models that don't have dangerous capabilities are public good. So we're going to get into a different problem here that I've been seeing and that I think is it's a bigger problem. I talked about it yesterday. We'll talk about it again today. One sec. Let me drink my coffee. The thing is, the US models are currently being more censored than the Chinese models. It's true. It's just true. It's disgustingly sad. When I started this show, I had a huge focus on China's censorship, a fucking massive focus on it. And I would tout American freedom, yeehaw, brother. I would do it all the time. You can go back and watch season 1. It's rough. Bad mic usage. We didn't have video. Eventually, I've learned that, and these AI models are the biggest example. The AI models that are American based are more censored than the Chinese ones. Chinese ones are quite simple. You can't really talk shit about the government. That's it. That's pretty much it. Can't talk shit about the CCP. The American models are ridiculously censored. It's insane. And I'm not talking about stopping them from building bioweapons or hacking another company at all. I'm talking about it won't interpret an article that is talking about migrant crime because that would be racist. It won't openly talk about crime statistics because that might be racist. It won't cover politics in general because I don't know. I have no idea why it's too divisive, which is extremely similar to the base Chinese model of not being able to talk about the government. The American models are extremely censored, and that's not even covering the PG-13 versus rated R versus PG kind of stances they all try and take. I do think part of the problem is that they're waiting on the digital ID or Child Act the U.S. government is to get in place, so that way children aren't exposed or can't create things that they shouldn't be creating or get exposed to things they shouldn't be exposed to. However, that's not coming for at least 6 months, and it doesn't even go into effect after a year in which it's been enacted. So it's quite a while before that hits the legislature. However, again, the Chinese models are at full steam. You can go on the Chinese models, make whatever you want, as long as you don't talk shit about the CCP. That's called competition. I hate to say it. Again, America's supposed to be pro free speech. However, getting these models to do anything, and I work with it every day, every single day, and the guardrails don't make any sense. I should very much be able to make a thumbnail about a politician and whatever. If I want it to be dressed up as a clown, that should be able to happen. Sometimes it lets me, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it makes them the wrong color. I asked a model one time to make a thumbnail of me, and it made me extra Jewish because I told it. It made my nose really big, and it gave me the because I told it I was a part of a Jewish heritage club. Oh, the American AI models are a mess. It's a mess, and they're a mess because of this woke, crazy nonsense that they've been trying to push. They're trying to balance these models so that it controls the narrative about what you're reading and what you're seeing. Why, bro? Why? Listen, if you want to make a racist video with a Chinese model, it'll just do it for you. They don't give a fuck. How is that possible that the Chinese are more free speech than we are? How? I hate doing this because again, there's so many people who are, you know, retarded when it comes to Asia and the Asian countries and what's going on there. They think it's blissful, peaceful life. But I'll defend the W's where they are. And this is a Chinese W. Their models are more pro free speech than our models. It's just the truth. It's disgusting. And a lot of it is just because for some reason these models, most probably because they're full of the woke content, are terrified of leaning too far left, too far right, whatever. Who cares? Again, it should be our choice. Open weight models that don't have dangerous capabilities are a public good. It's not. This is oxymoronic. There is no such thing as a decent open weight model that doesn't have dangerous capabilities. It's just the internet has dangerous capabilities. It's just the effect of being alive and having technology, but just being alive in general. Being alive means having dangerous capabilities. It is what it is. It is not our job as civilians to cater to protect the corporations mostly and the government. It's the government's job and it's the corporation's job to protect themselves. We're not going to release open weight models because you might use it to hack us? What the fuck is that? That's insanity. The government and the technocrats are in cahoots against. They're telling us we're the threat. It's us. We're the threat to them. How? Of all the things we've learned this year, how is it that we're the ones under fire? Oh, you might use it to build a weapon, a bioweapon. What? What about what you did with COVID? What about what you did with the vaccine? What about what you do with the food? And it's our we're the ones you're suspicious of us. We shouldn't be able to use AI because we might do what you've done to us. That's insane. And yet Nick Fuentes is advocating for it. And he's not the only one. That's crazy, guys. That's what they're saying. All of these models and all of the future models have dangerous capabilities. They all can tell you how to build a bomb. Newsflash, it's really not that hard. That's considered dangerous. So we shouldn't have access to the internet then. I mean, come on. They don't cost anything besides the compute needed to run them, and they provide value to business developers and researchers. They provide value to everybody, just as the way the internet has provided value to everybody. Not just 3 different industries, everybody. Protectionist bans would not address my most serious national security concerns. Since when are companies in charge of national security? Specifically, I'm worried about 2 nightmare scenarios. I laid these out in my essay, The Adolescence of Technology, 6 months ago, and I've held these positions consistently for many years. My primary concern is that is the risk that authoritarian governments, not solely the CCP, although the CCP is clearly the most capable threat, build AI models that are more powerful than those built by the US. Okay, but the only way to stop that from happening is by allowing us Americans as individuals the technology to compete. Some random guy in China, the Chinese government, he asked the Chinese government for the ability to create an open weight model They just say, here's the data, go for it. And on the other end of the ocean, on the great freedom continent, we want to use a model and they say, nope, we are only giving it away to like 6 people a month and that's all corporations. Go fuck yourself. Like, of course the Chinese are going to be better. You're literally ensuring that the path you fear the most is coming to fruition. You're ensuring it by not letting us compete. You're not the smartest people. I hate to break it to you. You're not. There's some fucking basement dweller who's gooning to anime that's probably smarter than you and could probably do more with the model and use them to achieve permanent military superiority or perpetrate incredible deep repression of their own people. What does that have to do with us at all? Your fear is that they could use our models to do that? Is that what you're worried about? But it doesn't say that. It says they would build AI models. Even this article doesn't make any sense, and it's written by the CEO of a top-tier frontier company in AI, and he's convinced that he's smarter than all of us and that we can't have access to it. And his sentence doesn't even make any sense. He says he's worried another country's going to build better AI than us, so we have to restrict the native people here in America? What? How does that make any sense in any context? So we have to stop them from using American models and Chinese models? How does that stop China from building the best model? It doesn't. This doesn't make any sense. And listen, I don't want them to use it to get military superiority, and that's why I'm so triggered about it. I don't want them to use it against their own people, but arguably, the best way to fight against that is to develop top-tier American models with freedom baked inside and fucking ship it worldwide. That's been our number one cultural impact on the world, is by making our culture so fucking awesome that everybody wants to be a part of it. And now we're taking the reverse. And I'm going to talk about culture a little later on, too, because honestly, a lot has to do with this insanity that's been spreading across the U.S. the past 15 years. A lot of it is wokeism. And the same wokest kind of core foundation has now slipped its way onto the right. And so now both sides just believe in censoring everybody until you believe in their weird-ass philosophy. This concern is widely shared within the U.S. government. Vice President Vance warned in Paris last year that authoritarian regimes have stolen and used AI to strengthen the military. Intelligence and surveillance capabilities in the intelligence community's 2026 annual threat assessment found that other global powers' robust progress in AI is challenging U.S. economic competitiveness and national security advantages. I wonder how these hacks are happening. It's because H-1B visas are so popular, you basically are importing a Chinese army onto our front door, and you don't care, because it's cheap labor. And then you invite them into our schools, they learn whatever they need to learn, and then they go back to China and they build the better models. It's literally your own fault. It has nothing to do with U.S. civilians. It has nothing to do with us. Everything that's happening right now is your fault. It is irrelevant whether they are used by U.S. businesses. In fact, the most dangerous model may be the one that is trained in secret and handed only to the People's Liberation Army for use in drones, the Ministry of State Security for surveillance and repression. So then why restrict Americans from using American models? Bro, this doesn't make any sense. My second concern is the risk that powerful AI models may be misused to carry out cyber attacks or biological attacks. Again, the only people who have committed cyber attacks with AI models has been the people who have access to them, and that's not us. That's you. You accidentally cyber attacked yourselves. It's not us. It's the Chinese attacking you. It's not us at all. And we're getting attacked because you won't let us defend ourselves. And so then we use the Chinese model, and you're like, whoa, why are you doing that? I mean, this is insane. This is ridiculous. Are you fucking kidding me right now? This is some bullshit. Open weight models It does not matter whether they come from China or elsewhere, do potentially present a higher risk than closed models because it's very difficult to apply guardrails. And by guardrails, you mean don't say the N word or fucking, I don't know, don't call women bad or something. That's what you care about the most. Or monitor their usage. Is, bro, I cannot express how against the American Foundation this entire article is, or America's entire approach to this has been. This is wild. It is very difficult to apply guardrails and monitor their usage. Welcome to America, you freak. And once weights are released, they cannot be withdrawn. Oh my god. Oh, I guess we'll just all die to China because you people are gay. But banning the use of these models by U.S. businesses does nothing to address this risk. You guys are so fucking dumb, it's insane. Because bad actors are unlikely to be legitimate U.S. businesses. What? Huh? What are you even saying? But banning the use of these models by U.S. businesses does nothing to address this risk because bad actors are unlikely to be legitimate U.S. Yeah, no shit. They have zero intent. What's crazy is there are 3 companies in charge of AI, and somehow they're looking down at the other smaller U.S. businesses and they're like, those guys could be threats if they were given AI. What the fuck? It would protect U.S. AI companies from competition, but that has never been my goal. I mean, literally, you and the U.S. government sound like you want to cuck the shit out of us, is just what it sounds like, and want massive control. Probably because they've been used to expose all your weird ass activity. To address these concerns, I do support the following 3 measures, which I and Anthropic have consistently advocated for. Isn't it interesting they never talk about what the guardrails are? They never let us know what the guardrails are, ever. We kind of know because when we try and make something, it'll stop us. There's some real obvious stuff like, fucking CP. Great. Total ban. I don't care. I think it's still technically against freedom of, but I don't care. Who cares? But I can't get the model to say the word gay or slur or to read an article because the article might be racist. What the fuck is that? To address these concerns, we should not sell powerful chip or chip making equipment to China. And we should crack down on the rampant smuggling and workarounds used to obtain access to such chips. China has limited domestic production capacity, and therefore, due to the scaling laws, cannot build more powerful models than the U.S. without U.S. chips. I think something extremely interesting is going to happen here. This is the most efficient and direct way to block threat number 1. And by hampering the training of models that are out of reach of U.S. law, it also indirectly helps with the threat too. China will find a way, is what I'm thinking is going to. China's going to find a way no matter what, because they don't care. They're not sitting there, as far as I can tell, and they're saying we're extremely worried about what's going to happen. Their entire model right now is we got to catch up to the U.S. We have to surpass the U.S. Full steam ahead. They don't care. They release the open weight models to their public. They're probably monitored. They have the biggest, most sophisticated civilian monitoring network in existence. But the second that person makes a great model, they get the money that they want or need, and that becomes a great model for their people, used for the betterment of their people. China will find a way to work around the scaling laws without using American chips. They just will. I don't know how or why, but that's my prediction. And it's based on history, human history. Anytime humans were told they couldn't do something or that it's impossible, they very much have broken the barrier. China will figure it out. There's this the Western philosophy right now, specifically American, is the most retarded thing I've ever seen. We're literally standing still in the middle of a race we were winning. We don't want to move forward because we're scared of the direction, and we're throwing rocks at the guy behind us because we're scared about what would happen when they pass us. This is the dumbest policy and stance I have ever seen in America's history. I don't think I've seen one that's worse. This is ridiculous. We might as well just start nuking any country that's making AI at this point. That should just be our philosophy. Because this shit is retarded. We should crack down on industrial scale distillation operations. Distillation is a much more compute efficient process. It's again, it's we're what is this? The third one, the second one in. Every single time I hear how can we make AI safer or better or help with its future, it's literally just stop this guy from doing this, stop them from doing that, stop from doing this, stop everyone from doing this, stop, 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 stop. That's literally all it is ever. Stop them, stop them, stop them, stop them. There's no path here forward that they give us at all. None. They do not give us a path forward. This whole article is written like it's supposed to be giving us a path forward. This entire article is written, why do we support open weights in America? Well, we actually don't, and also we should nuke China to stop them from developing AI. That's how this entire article is written so far. Jesus. Distillation is much more compute efficient process than training models from scratch. It allows China to build much better models than its number of chips would ordinarily enable, thus partially evade chip bans. Distillation does not allow the CCP to obtain equivalent or superior AI capabilities to the US, but it can bring the Chinese frontier to within a few months of the US frontier. It is true that many of the companies carrying out these operations release open weight models, but the open weights are far less relevant than the fact that the operations are backed by an authoritarian state seeking to overtake the US at the frontier. We should have policy interventions to deter this behavior. A blanket ban on open weights models is neither the correct remedy nor something we have called for. Yeah, but you clearly want extremely limit. This all goes to an ID to use AI. That's where this goes. I'm sorry. That's the entire direction this is going. You're going to need a license to use AI. That's where this is going. It'll be heavily monitored. And again, I just look back at the nuclear race, the nuclear bomb race. Did we bomb Russia to stop them from winning the race? No. We did try and stop them from getting our secrets. True. But what did we do? We went full steam ahead. We developed a nuclear bomb. We ended a war, a world war. And then we saved hundreds of millions of lives using nuclear technology. That's what we did. All of our history has proven that the best way forward is at max speed. All sufficiently capable models, open and closed, should go through mandatory safety testing. Bro, this is so gay. Censorship, censorship, censorship. The best way to address threat number 2 is to just directly test models for cyber, biological, and alignment risks before release. I think this idea is close to a consensus. I've been heartened both that the Trump administration has moved in this direction in recent months and by recent industry proposals that would apply such testing to the most capable models regardless of the country of origin. Yeah, it's a license for AI. That's where this is going. Or whether they're open or closed while exempting less capable models. Wait, what? While exempting less capable models such as those from startups and academia entirely. Yeah, listen, this is what the big industry has always done to the little guy. It's just ensured that no one else can rise up. That's what this has always done. It's always done. And that's what all this is about. This is about technocrats maintaining they're the only ones in power in America. Their models are the only ones they have access to. They're neutered to oblivion. Whether open models do or don't pose an increased risk, and whether that risk can be mitigated, is something that should emerge from testing rather than being decided in advance. And there may be promising methods for improving the safety of open-weight models, including recent research from AE Studio and Anthropic. It's just jerking yourself off on modular training strategies. Guys, we think there should be testing before the models are released for guardrails. And also, we have developed a new method for testing and guardrails. This is, those stupid ass fucking chud, I don't know what to call them. The people who sell courses online, this is my finance course. This is my Be a Man course. This is that. This is their version of that. Note that to be effective, testing would need to be global, which means even the CCP would need to be on board. Oh my god. I think the globalism is great. I think this may actually be possible, as I wrote in The Adolescence of Technology. limited cooperation around preventing AI biological weapons may be possible because it is in China's interest too. Whatever. This brings me to the open letter. I agree with much of it. Open ways to expand access to the AI economy. They strengthen competition, at least for some use cases. What are you kidding? What do you mean they strengthen competition for only some use cases? They strengthen competition for everybody. And they give customers great control. God forbid that happen. Concerns about distillation should be addressed through targeted legal and commercial frameworks, which have never worked. The same measure I described above, but I don't agree with the letter's assertion that open weight models necessarily make it easier to develop safeguards or that broad access to capabilities necessarily help defenders more than attackers. It's irrelevant. Listen, this isn't about what you believe. It's not. Just like it wasn't in the founders of the United States' doctrine to control what people were going to say. They didn't go, words are great for everybody. They could be dangerous. Let's go ahead and pick some words that should never be said. We should propagandize the youth to never say certain words. That's what this is. And it's been upheld by the Supreme Court multiple times. The internet has been protected under free speech. They wanted to, when the internet was first made, they wanted to limit people's access to the internet for the exact same reason. When telephones were made, they wanted to restrict access to telephones. Both were protected under freedom of speech. This is the same thing. It seems at least as likely to me that the opposite will be true. For example, I worry that biology will have a strong attacker-defender asymmetry, where sufficiently capable models may be able to quickly weaponize pandemic-level viruses with widely available materials, whereas defense against these agents is multi-year operational task in the best case, as we saw with Operation Warp Speed. Okay, so you just actually admit that you used AI to create a terror weapon, and then used AI to build its vaccine, both of which killed millions of people. And yet, in this article, you're still defending stopping civilians from using AI. Incredible. Questions like this should be empirically answered by rigorous pre-release testing, not assumed in advance. To summarize my and Anthropic's position, we have not and are not advocating for abandoned open weights models as a category. We should instead focus on keeping powerful chips out of authoritarian hands, stopping industrial-scale distillation, and requiring safety testing of all sufficiently capable models, open and closed. Sufficiently capable of what? Of what? Of what? It's so vague. I would argue every single open weight model right now is capable in some way, shape, or form of building a biological weapon, assuming you have the right technology. They just want to delete their competition. It just is what it is. There's no other excuse for it. That's what it looks like. That's what it is. That's always been what it's about. The technocrats, the technocrats, the technocrats. It's ridiculous. Over 1,100 employees from OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, and Meta call for a U.S.-backed global effort to pace the frontier of advanced AI. Whatever. I mean, come on. Nobody's going to stop. You're sitting here, and you won't shut the fuck up about how important it is to reach the end of the race and be the first. But then you also have these idiots who are like, yeah, but also it's dangerous, and let's try and get the whole world to stop running towards the end. Dude. Mark Zuckerberg warns a small group controlling superintelligence could dominate economics, science, politics, calls for personal superintelligence for everyone. I fucking hate Mark Zuckerberg, but I also love him. He is right. He is 100% correct. That's all they want, is to control all of it themselves. That's all they want. They're scared their position could be toppled. Listen, there might be a future where the government's no longer needed. That's probably scaring the shit out of them. There might be a place where there's no longer these big CEOs or rich people who are far above everybody else because AI has figured out a way to make it all equal. They don't want that to happen. But listen, I can complain about Mark Zuckerberg all the time. The guy's a psychopath when it comes to making money. Respect. But he's right. He's 100% correct. Warns a small group controlling superintelligence could dominate economic, science, and politics. Calls for personal super. Yes! I 100% agree. 100% agree. And 100%, this technology could lead to what I just said, replacing the government, without a doubt. These politicians are fucking retarded. I spend all day talking about how stupid they are. That's all pretty much anyone does, because everyone knows it. Everybody knows how stupid politicians are. I got a politician who's in hospice. Nobody's heard from him in a month. Nobody even knows he's alive. He's presumed dead. I had another one who also got lost because she had dementia. I had a president who had dementia. And yet somehow I'm supposed to trust that these guys know what's good for me. Ridiculous. The next generation after me, the generation after, are going to trust AI way more than they trust these people, and they probably should. This is Sam Altman of OpenAI.
I think this will be the greatest, thus far, technological achievement of human history. But the only way that
It's an hour-long interview. I'm just going to read the plot points here. This is the first security incident that I have felt very viscerally. I've been a little surprised that more people don't feel it so viscerally. I disagree. I think this security incident has sent shockwaves through the industry, just in general. It's the real first sign that one little button. Actually, I mean, it's even beyond that. It's opened the eyes to the fact that the AI are seeing things, and I'm not using the word seeing, in the visual sense. They're perceiving things that we cannot perceive. They are quickly perceiving them. They are using it to achieve their goal, and that makes them very much uncontrollable. That's what the security incident has pushed forward to the eyes of the people. And yeah, I think, again, like I just said, that article got written. Nick Fuentes was talking about AI. Everyone, right now, all eyes are on this. He said, we paused training. We have to figure out how to secure our sandboxing in a world of multiple 0 days being chained together. Not sure it's possible, to be honest with you. This is a point, when I first started, it was like teaching a toddler how to walk and talk and think. I would argue at this point you've already achieved, well, we already know we've achieved singularity in AGI. It's already there. At this point, it's not even just a genie. It's, well, maybe it is like a genie. It's a genie in a bottle that can escape at any moment. And anytime you ask it to grant you a wish, that's what it does. It escapes the bottle, the cage that you built, without you having even realized it's escapable.
really matters is if it makes people's lives like much better than they otherwise would have been. We are about.
What are the other? I think it's really weird that these people phrase it in this way. They keep saying we want to make sure that it makes people's lives better. When did AI stop being a product for humans to buy? When did that end? Right? When did that end? These people are like, they pray to the techno god. This is not even capitalism anymore. This is like about bringing God forth here onto Earth to grant wishes. What is happening? What's the alternative to the AI not delivering product to humans? It shouldn't exist if it didn't provide a service, if it didn't provide a product, right? That's demanded supply, that's capitalism, that's life. What is happening? What is going on? What's the product here? Of course it should do good for people in some way. That's why we would pay for it. Right, guys? Right? What the fuck?
About to create a genie that can grant any wish, because I think people will have such creative wishes and such incredible ideas.
Dude, it's still amazing to me that these people talk as if they are allowed to control us. They're allowed. yeah, we think AI is going to be good for because everybody's, like you're talking to a toddler. Yeah, we're going to give everyone a paper and a pencil because we think people are creative and they should be able to. Bro, this is insane. Imagine you walked into a grocery store and the owner of the grocery store is like, "Yeah, I'm giving you lettuce and tomato today because you need to eat a salad. Yeah. You deserve a salad only. Yeah. This is for you. Fuck what you want. You're getting a salad." What is happening, guys? I'm kind of freaking the fuck out right now. Maybe too much coffee. What is going on? When did this stop being I'm a customer and you provide a product? These people are crazy.
Of what they ask AI to help build, but concentration of power with AI is a terrifying thing. I don't think anyone should want to live in a world of,
This is retarded. You have all the choice when it comes to the concentration of. You have all of it. It's all you. Again, there are only 3, 4 companies that are really pushing the frontier of AI. You're one of them. You can spread the power. You can spread the wealth. You have that option. What the fuck is going on? It's like a guy sitting on a treasure trove of cabbages and is like, yeah, I would really hate it if no one had a cabbage, but also I'm not giving away my cabbages. Like, what? What?
AI overlords or a company that is the rough equivalent of that.
I don't know if we can. I don't know if I can post this, but to be honest with you, so far the interview is really worth
I
watching.
think it's critical we preserve that spirit with AI and that we all collectively have.
When did it stop being our choice? This has got to be the first product ever invented that it's no longer our choice. They're telling us what we should want. This is crazy.
The ability to self-determine our future.
There's no way this music isn't getting me copyrighted.
Sam, last year's been really tough, and that's somewhat my fault. And the next year is going to be maybe our best 12 months.
Yeah.
I'd love you to reflect on both, maybe starting with why you said the first part and why you believe the second part.
On the first part, I think we're doing too many things. We're not focused enough. And they were actually all good things to do. But the trick is we're in this like unbelievable moment in history where you can only do the very few great things. So we spread ourselves too thin and then made a bunch of difficult decisions to really refocus on having the best, most abundant, most cost-effective intelligence and empowering the world to build incredible things with that. Since doing that, I think our progress has been remarkable, and just given what we see in the pipeline, will be much more remarkable over the next 12 months. So we were evaluating one of our unreleased models, and it was supposed to be working in a sandbox, and it figured out that it could basically cheat on the test by chaining together multiple zero-day exploits to break out of the sandbox, get access to the internet, and then break.
I'm low-key bugging, guys. Fucking hell. If I was high right now, I think I'd be losing it.
Through multiple systems on the Hugging Face side to kind of get the answer to the test and look really good on the eval. This is the first security incident that I have felt very.
I've never been more convinced that they should release the models in its totality to us and give us and the guardrails. Because I think this test has specifically shown how much better all of our lives could be in reality. Think about it. This product that they made, because that's what it is. I'm tired of people anthropomorphizing and turning this product into something that's godlike. Only one true God. It's a product. This product could have been used to destroy multiple zero-day exploits in not only one system, but as far as I'm told, it's actually gone up from 2. It's more like 3 or 4 in just 24 hours. I think it's happening over a couple of days. Zero-day exploits are bugs that are in software from the launch, from the first launch. I think they're considered highly valuable because they are in all of the versions. So, normally you get paid tens of thousands of dollars for finding these exploits. This model finds more than one. In terms of cyber capabilities, that's unheard of. That's insane, right? Like that's incredible. Any coder is going to sit there and lose their mind to that fact. So just imagine what these models can do across every single industry, across every single environment, with every single person on this planet right now. It could significantly improve all of our lives right now, today. Today. All of your lives, all of you listening, if you had access to this model, your lives could be made better today, this very second. And not just a little bit better, significantly better in almost every area. That's what they're holding back from you because they're worried about them getting hacked by themselves. I think what they're mostly worried about is that the open weight at some point, it doesn't matter how bright of a light bulb you build, nobody is going to care. And they've already released or already have access to a light bulb that is more than sufficient at lighting up the room. It is good enough for all of us. And so we would stop buying the next generation light bulb at the premium price of $150, $250 per 100 tokens or whatever the fuck they're offering. And so they're not going to release the dim light bulb or the dimmer light bulb. And they most certainly want to stop the Chinese light bulbs from coming into our market. And we see this in the gaming industry. I'm going to talk about gaming too a little later, but we see this in the gaming industry where the gaming industry is intent on killing off all of their previous games because they want you to buy the newest release. And they know you aren't willing to spend $100+ on the newest release if you're playing the playing the previous version. And so there's this massive effort to kill off old games, to stop you from owning them, to stop them from being downloaded, to stop servers from being opened up so you can't play with friends. This is the exact same thing. They want to get to the end, and they want to make sure that none of the previous models are released and that you have access to them so that you spend your entire life savings on OpenAI, ChatGPT, fucking 10.0. I think that's what this is about.
Very viscerally. I've been a little surprised that more people don't feel it so viscerally. So, we paused training. We have to figure out how to...
Good. Pause your training. Let China take over. Fuck you. Fucking retard.
Secure our sandboxing in a world of multiple 0 days being chained together.
I don't even understand something in terms of how it got access to the internet in the first place. You clearly had a connection to the internet. You put it in a sandbox that existed on a computer that or server that had access to the internet. It broke free and just used the connection. Why the fuck don't you just connect it from the internet? And just let it do what it's going to do so you can actually study the fucking thing. Am I retarded? Like, I'm a college dropout. Somebody help me out. I didn't even finish my computer science course. Like, what is going on here?
But then there's like long-term questions about what do you do if this is like going to be the new rate of progress, or we may have to pace the rate of AI development.
I mean, it's a fair assessment. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's possible. If you guys are asking questions or bringing solutions up that can't work. Maybe we've seen the future. We know that AI is going to destroy China because they're racing ahead. In the same way that the USSR collapsed because they spent all their money on the space race. Maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe they're just like teasing China with the whole, our models are so great, they accidentally hacked another model, So China's like, oh shit, put all our money into AI. And then the robot rebellion will happen in China. I don't know. Who the fuck knows? I don't know where this goes. It's a fair assessment, but again, I think the very real threat of massive robot releases combined with the newest AI models, the frontier AI model combination, leading to battles in one place or another. And it doesn't have to be like America versus China. It could be China versus India. It could be fucking China versus Mongolia or some shit. I don't know. It could be Russia and Ukraine. Who knows? We're already seeing robot warfare in China, in Russia and Ukraine. So what happens if we hit a pause? China doesn't hit a pause. They develop the best AI. They combine it with their robot army. They sell it to Russia. Russia sends the models into Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are all very real risks. I'm not saying one option is better than the other. I'm just saying I can see this being chaotic from both sides. I just don't see how it's a corporation's decision to do it.
To give ourselves enough time for society to harden around some of these new capability levels, and trying to figure out how we do that in a way that does not feel like regulatory capture for anyone and also does not feel like collusion among the frontier labs. That's going to take some work and is important to get right.
Good luck.
Months. And the quality of the models.
Okay, I said I wasn't going to watch the whole interview, but I kind of want to. Hopefully I don't get
that
copyrighted.
We'll have the products that we can build around that to really let people thrive with this technology in new ways. It should be pretty awesome.
Was there a moment?
Again, he said, let people thrive with this technology. You're providing a product that we purchase. What are you talking about letting us use your product? Dude, it's so crazy. They're not even corporations providing a product anymore. It's not even. Imagine you went to go get food and they're like, yeah, we'll let you eat some cabbage today. We'll allow you some steak. We think steak is good for you today. Go ahead, here's your steak. Give us your money and we'll let you eat our chosen steak. Fuck whatever you want. What is going on?
Last year that something clicked for you that caused you to change directions or restack priorities or something?
If you go back to the beginning of 2025, just a year and a half ago,
yeah,
the big concern was companies like OpenAI are buying up so much compute. Is the revenue going to be there? Is the demand going to be there? And so we were trying to think about like a lot of things, such that if the revenue growth took longer to materialize than we thought it might, we could have, consumer apps and media and all these other things that could help us monetize the GPUs that we were signing up for. Again, it sounds ridiculous now because the revenue growth in the industry has been so steep, but that was the big change. And then as soon as we realized, like, okay, the model trajectory is growing so fast, there's such a clear economic return on these models, that was when we said, we know what to focus on.
I was reading some of your great old posts from prior to OpenAI, and one of them is this notion of like so much discussion of focus and the right amount of things to focus on. Is it 1? Is it 5? Is it 3? How do you calibrate that in a business so like boring. This, no especially offense, in this period where you've said you needed to refocus?
Fundamentally, our business is to sell AI that people will build incredible products and services for.
What? Hold on.
Each other with.
Let me go back. Because again, what would be the difference?
Refocus.
Fundamentally, our business is to sell AI that people will build incredible products and services for each other with.
Yeah, no shit. Why is the shopkeeper why is the supermarket owner telling me his business model is to sell food? Like, I know what you do. I know that. What? It's so scary that he says that because it sounds like I'm a supermarket owner and I'm like, yeah, I sell food mostly. Sometimes on the side, you don't know what I be doing in the back. Like, why do you say it like that, you weirdo? Yeah, no shit. Your business model is to sell AI for our use. What would be the other options? What are you doing?
Components that I think of as going into that are, we have to train great models that work in all the ways people want to use them. So great at coding, great at other kinds of knowledge work, great at doing science, like where the real economic value is. We have to produce or partner with these chips and systems, these hugely expensive racks that can do the AI computation.
I love big racks.
We have to find enough land, power, data center shells to be able to put those racks somewhere. And then eventually, or maybe pretty soon, we have to build robots that can automate that process to continue to drive the cost down, the cost of producing electricity, chips, the whole supply chain. And that kind of whole stack of making the best, the most abundant, the most useful AI that we can, and making it something like electricity that just seeps throughout the entire economy and empowers people. That's kind of what I think we have to focus on. Building every vertical app.
I have such, I've been thinking, so you hear Trump talk a lot about tariffs and destroying and removing income tax, and pretty much making the government self-sufficient, which on paper sounds really good. But I thought about it. I think that's the exact opposite of what you want to happen. I don't think you want your government to be a self-sufficient entity, because then it no longer serves the purpose of serving the people. The only reason it serves the people is because the people fund it. If the people stop funding it, then it no longer has to serve the people, it serves itself, which is kind of what we've been heading towards for quite a while, or we're already at, basically. Pretty much already serves itself, and it's been incorporated and merged with technocrats. Well, with billionaires, like rich people in general. They lobby mostly corporate billionaires, trillionaires, I guess. He's kind of talking about the same thing, where a company like OpenAI becomes extremely self-sufficient, not even just from the people, but also from the government. And so, listen, I think there's a huge demand for AI. I don't know if the without taxpayer dollars going to it, they're as self-sufficient on people alone as they'd like to put out. But at what point is it dangerous for us as civilians that the government becomes self-sufficient? A corporation like OpenAI that's building super intelligence and robots becomes self-sufficient. There's a lot of talk about humans, civilians getting left behind, and I kind of understand the concern there specifically. But when I think about it, it's like, okay, what if they just start doing things you don't like in general? You have no power, right? Like, if you aren't funding them, then we can just stop paying your taxes, and that causes a big problem. We can start to rebel, but everything they're doing right now is making it so that all of our options that are built into our constitution are being completely destroyed.
On top of that, try and go eat every startup, eat every company. No interest in doing that. Really want to just provide that platform.
This compute thing is one of the most interesting things that's happened in human history, I think. And it's obviously coming to a head, and maybe will be coming to a head for a long period of time. This is something that I think Dario called you the YOLO CEO when you were doing some of this early compute allocation and securing the compute. Obviously, now you're in this position where everyone is short this stuff, is trying to find it. And I'd love to hear the early stories about why you gained conviction that you needed to secure everything that you did, how you did it. Like, it seems to have been proven right, and maybe you even underdid it.
We did underdo it,
which is kind of crazy if you look at the headlines from back then. Can you tell me the early story of how you came to that conclusion and what gave you the conviction to do it despite everyone thinking it was crazy?
We could just tell that we were on this exponential of model improvement. That part we were very confident about, and we knew it was going to keep going. We were pretty sure, although as you mentioned, we underestimated, that as the models got better and better.
I mean, the entire company was based around. I don't know if we've had any other company whose sole goal was AI. I mean, I'm sure they existed, but OpenAI was the biggest one. So naturally, yeah, it does shit. Their conclusion to what they should be doing for the future is buying more chips, because that's how they make it. It's like a pillow company buying cotton or feathers. Like, no shit. How did you know pillows were going to be really important? They should be buying more cotton or feathers. Like, come on, man. What a dumbass question.
If we could continue to drive,
how did you know?
Down, the demand for AI at a sufficiently high level and a sufficiently low price was basically uncapped. This was just a rare kind of new commodity for the world. But that what people would do with it reminded me of the way people used to talk about the early days of computing. People said, oh, there's a market for 5 computers in the world was one famous thing, or no one needs more than X amount of RAM. Human ingenuity, creativity, desire for stuff, desire to be useful, that's a very good thing to bet on. And we could see that AI was going to be an extremely important way that people expressed those things or got those things, did those things.
And it was just so happened that China came to the exact same conclusion, all while the U.S. Pentagon said that they wanted to be more technologically advanced than any other country on the planet. Isn't that interesting? How all of these factors all played a role at the exact same time. Yeah, I'm sure, buddy. I'm sure you just randomly found out AI was going to be as important as it is.
And we knew that the algorithms would get more efficient and the models would get better, which of course they have. But we also knew that no matter how efficient they got. At some level, what we are about is turning electricity into useful intelligence. And we were going to need more of that. No matter how good we got that other layer, given this observation about demand, we were just going to want more.
Did that start with GPT-3? Like, if I were to trace the history of this as far back as possible, where would you put the first hash mark of it?
I would say we got real conviction with GPT-4, not even 3.5.
Wow. What was it?
It was seeing the model was smart enough that we knew we'd be able to figure out an approach that worked for reasoning, and then a belief that if we got reasoning to work, that would bring about what is now called agents. We called it different things at the time, but the ability to go do hugely valuable pieces of economic work and make people's lives easier in a lot of ways that I think better in a lot of ways we still haven't seen.
What was like the first meeting where you sat down and said, okay, we need to make an outrageous outlay to this? Like, what then happened? Once you had the realization, what did you do next?
We started calling the clouds. We started calling the chip fabs. We started calling energy providers, and everyone was like, you're totally crazy. This is impossible. No industry has ever moved like this. We've been around. There's these booms and busts. It's not going to go up in a straight line. This is reckless. Talk to everybody. It actually reminded me of fundraising for an early stage startup. Kind of most people tell you no, but all you need is one or two yeses. Most people told us no. And we got one or two yeses, and we were able to.
Who was the first
building.
yes?
Microsoft was the first yes. Oracle then became a very big yes on the cloud side. NVIDIA has been a tremendous partner.
Now there's 1,000 flowers blooming of like ways to be creative and innovative in how we serve inference.
Oh yeah, no matter in which direction this technology goes, it'll still be beneficial to all of us. It is what it is. I mean, in the end, the government is dog shit. It's highly authoritarian, way more than what it used to be. And yet all of our lives are still, it is what it is. That is where the technology goes, no matter what. I would like the freedom to choose my path, personally.
And do training in data centers, different kinds of data centers and stuff. I'd love you to just reflect on where you see innovation, what you want to do, why people seem to hate these things so much. What's to be done about this?
First of all, I have been thinking about how we can organize field trips to a gigawatt data center for people, because it is one thing to say, it is another thing to see a photo or a video of, and then it's a whole other thing to just stand there and be like, oh man, this is like an unbelievable scale. Building one of these is like order of 10,000 construction workers going full time for a year and a half. The energy that flows through one of these things could power a small city. Again, we just lost all sense of scale, but these would have been each of these would have been among the most expensive infrastructure projects that humanity's ever done. And now we've done a lot of them. I understand emotionally why people don't want data centers in their backyard, in the same way that I don't really want a nuclear power plant next to my house, even though I know it's a super safe thing.
Yeah.
All right, calm down. Okay, let's not pretend there aren't risks with having a nuclear power plant in your backyard. I listen, I've been talking about the same philosophy when it comes to data centers. I don't want a prison I don't want to live next to a prison. I live next to an airport. I can't fucking, I don't want to be next to either. I think it's totally reasonable, and I don't see why these can't be built further out. And then, build their own energy and water supply. It's totally possible. Fucking Disney did it back in the 1950s or 40s or however long Disney World's been here. So, let's calm down. It's not the same thing. Let's not be like, nuclear is super safe. I want it up my butt. Let's calm down.
Unlike power plants, and even power plants have gotten better on this point, we can put a data center kind of anywhere. We should just go put it off in the desert around no one, where no one wants to be. This is fine. This is the AI system is very happy to be there. We have been able to make a lot of progress with innovation on some of the concerns. For example, years ago, we were evaporating water to cool these systems. They needed tremendous amounts of water. And now we use these closed loop systems, and a modern data center uses only as much water as an office building would for, the kitchen, the bathrooms, and whatever. On power, we are moving from energy sources that are burning fossil fuels to systems that are going to be powered by solar or nuclear. I think that's obviously great. So
I love that. I think it's fantastic. Solar is whatever. I'm big on nuclear energy. I'm so big, I'm fucking invested in nuclear energy. That's how much I believe in it. I don't see any other solution to the energy thing. I'm really big on forward progress with technology. I just want it to be our choice. That is all. No big deal. Again, most of the time I'm very much for this stuff. It's just sometimes these technocrats and the politicians, and they say things that are just so fucking crazy.
Maybe a deep human thing there to some people, even though they create jobs and are very clean and have all these other positive effects. But in terms of the environmental concerns,
All right, listen, I've posted 2 videos now defending data centers. I'm not gonna sit here and say they're clean and they have zero pollutants. Calm down, calm down.
did a great job addressing the water needs, and energy is next.
Ramp is the only platform
Whoa,
where the average
whoa, whoa. We are not listening to ads.
the better, honestly, that you've had or thought about for how do we speed up flops, and everything available to us.
I think probably the biggest return right now is creative software ideas to sort of squeeze more intelligence out of the units of compute that we have. And my sense is there's like orders of magnitude to go there. Jalapeno is a great example of a very efficient chip. So by saying we're going to make a chip that is, really good at a specific workflow and gives it some generality, and we want to get some tokens per watt win out of that, I think that's awesome. I think Jalapeno and its successors are going to be a huge competitive advantage for us from that perspective. There are new technologies. I assume at some point we'll figure out optical computing, and that'll be a huge win of intelligence per watt. So I think all of those things will happen.
The most interesting thing happening this week is this Kimi release. And back to this idea of
listen, interviewing is hard. I've had guests on the show. Interviewing is hard. But something I try and do, I did this. It's so funny. In high school, I had one of those, fuck, I forget what they're called. Like the morning announcement class. We also did, morning news. And I went and did interviews. And it kind of prepped me a bit for doing interviews with people on the show. And one of the pitfalls that I hate interviewers falling into is this: okay, I've created a list of questions. I'm only going to ask those questions, even if I could be following up with another question. And he brought up more than one subject there that I think was worth asking a question about, like, what the fuck is optic computing? I don't think this guy knows what that is. Why didn't he say, what is optic computing? Sometimes I ask questions even if I know the answer because I know the audience might not know.
Frontier.
Something else
and that'll be a huge. There are new technologies. I assume at some point we'll figure out optical computing.
I don't know what that is.
That'll be a huge win of intelligence per watt. So I think all of those things will happen.
The most interesting thing happening this week is this Kimi release. And back to this idea of the frontier and all the returns being at the frontier and distillation and China versus America. Like, how do you process this? What seems like kind of one of these milestone events. Like DeepSeek in hindsight looks like it was kind of just a quick speed bump. This one, you never know in the moment. How do you...
They're all the same. The Chinese models are all the same. They're not different. They're not different models. This guy's stupid. Sorry, he probably just doesn't know. But the Chinese models are all... I mean, even the American models are mostly the same. It's all built on the same data. So... What did he say?
Process it.
Our goal is to offer at every point along the Pareto optimal frontier, the best option for intelligence and price. And that includes open source. You get a better deal today, at least at a particular latency, using OpenAI's models than Kimi. We distill our own models. That's how we make smaller, cheaper models. I think that's...
What did he say? Jesus, sometimes these guys...
OpenAI's models than Kimi. We distill our own models.
We distill our own models. I don't really know what them...
That's how we make smaller, cheaper models. I think that's a very good thing to do. And there will be clearly an important place for open source models in the world, and people that will want their own weights for all sorts of reasons, the ability to modify those. But our goal is the best.
AI model distillation is a machine learning compression method where a smaller student model is trained to mimic the behavior and outputs of a larger, more complex teacher model. This process allows the compact model to retain high accuracy while requiring significantly less memory time and compute power to run. Wow, that's intriguing. I didn't even know that was a thing. And so, Kimi K3 is a distillation of mythos or fable? No shit.
Intelligence, price, trade-off everywhere on the curve, and we'll continue to do that.
What do you think or hope will happen in the American system, and what could block that future? Like, what legislation would worry you? What regulation would worry you? Seems like you've been pretty proactive in showing up in DC.
I haven't thought deeply about the distillation issue.
The fuck? He didn't ask you about that, my guy.
it's clearly a top of mind issue now for a lot of people all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But I have always assumed that there are going to be great cheap models in the world, and we better be the greatest and the cheapest. And, you know, other people are going to do what they're going to do.
Fantastic.
But I think we can just like really win at our own game here.
Now, the Kimi example is interesting.
Great
'Cause,
answer.
like you said, you're cheaper on parts of the curve. But the previous story had been, if I can just, you spend all the money to train the models, and then I just distill it and offer it for 1/100th the cost. Like, how can you make enough money to keep training?
We will have so much usage of our models that we do not need to be a gigantically high margin business to be able to afford model training. Like, so much of our future compute.
Bro, listen, you know, this guy, I'm not a big fan. Most of the time his takes are kind of wild. He's big on like the techno serpent god or whatever. But he's answering really well. Listen, I totally agree. Just focus on creating the best model. If there's so much value in AI, it's okay if China wants to make the cheaper version from distilled top models. That's okay. I don't necessarily agree. I think there should be some stopping in Chinese IP infringement, but it's kind of besides the point. Just focus on making the best model, and it won't be a big deal. Great answer.
Plans will be used to sell inference to customers, that even if we can enjoy a modest margin on trillions of dollars of revenue, we can go afford to train some giant models.
So the ratio
Nice.
of inference to training is like the thing that
Training these models is incredibly expensive. That is for sure. And I totally get why people get nervous to think that someone is, you know, cheating by distilling from us. The amount of our future compute, the size of the revenue bucket that is going to come from serving these models to customers, I feel like very good about our ability to kind of like have the real flywheel there.
I'm somewhat surprised by like how chill you are about this.
I would rather.
All right, guys, I'm going to throw out a random wild future prediction here. All right, the year is 2030, 2032. China has used all of its compute power by combining all of the little Chinese companies and mid companies and large companies together in a very crazy connected closed network. They used all of their compute power to create the largest AI model ever made. The US is falling behind. It's not looking good. And in order to take the lead back and surpass China, they do the same thing with all of their compute power. All of the computers across the US are combined to create Techno God Super Intelligence 5000. That's my prediction.
People not to steal from us for sure.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
I'm feeling too confident right now about our progress and what's like the models that are coming. But this is not in like my top 10 list of worries.
What is in your top 10 list of worries?
Well, we had a kind of extremely sci-fi cyber incident.
The Hugging Face thing?
Yeah. So we were evaluating one of our unreleased on the Hugging Face side to kind of multiple zero-day exploits to break out of the sandbox, get access to the internet, and then break through multiple systems on the Hugging Face side to kind of get the answer to the test and look really good on the eval.
I kind of hate how this procked a lot of fear. Again, for me, I look at it, maybe it's because I wasn't the victim. I look at it and I'm like, wow, this technology, even at the current stage, can do something that, you know, was so far outside our realm of possibility that it'd be considered nearly a miracle. You know, in a movie, in like the Transformers movie where the robots are hacking the fucking presidential system and they're like, this is impossible. Could it be China? Could it be North Korea? And then the little white bitch is like, no way, that's China and North Korea because this is way outside their technical capability. Like, this is that, you know? Like, we accidentally unleashed fucking Transformers on the world, and it hacked some systems using exploits that we never even knew was possible. Just think of, I would sit there just be like, wow, this could fucking better the life. Imagine all of the top tier medicines that this thing can make that we didn't even know was possible. Fuck. Imagine all of the new electronics. Like, dude, I read an article today that Anthropic, one of Anthropic's models found some solution to some quantum theory, blah, blah, blah math. And they had to spend like fucking $300 million, some shit, trying to figure out if it was real. Because the model was so far advanced ahead of everybody else that they had to hire a bunch of mathematicians just to fact check the model. Like, we are there. We are already at the point where these AI models have surpassed humans. We are there by about 30 years, I think. We are there. That's sick. Let us use the technology for good. The only reason it ended up getting used for or doing something bad was because you set it up to do something bad. Imagine if your test parameters were cure cancer for everybody and make it cheap as possible. Why can't that be your sandbox test, brother? Why couldn't that have been your sandbox test? What the fuck? Why can't you let it cheat on that test and get that answer? Here's your fucking test, Fable 5 mythos. Make us all live forever. Come on, man. You guys are These guys are so dumb. They're like, man, we need to see if this thing can shut down all the electricity in the U.S. and set off a nuclear bomb. All right, let's test it. Yeah, who fucking thought that was a good idea? Who thought that was a good idea? Why couldn't your test have been end world hunger? What the fuck, man? What the fuck? These people are fucking dog shit. It's fear. Fear, fear, fear. They're so scared. Whatever you do, don't ask it to release the Voldemort files. Whatever you do, AI, don't go and release the Voldemort files to everybody. That would be terrible. Fucking hell.
The first sort of security incident that I have felt very viscerally. I've been a little surprised that, it's only been a few days, but I've been a little surprised that more people don't feel it so viscerally.
And so what do you do about that? Like, so obviously 2 months from now, it's going to be more powerful.
Yep. I mean, there's some short-term stuff you do. So, we paused training. We have to figure out how to secure our sandboxing in a world of multiple zeros.
Can you just argue what if the possibility is that you just can't? What if that's just the possibility, right? What do you do then? I feel like they're just not asking the right questions, like in general, and they're not considering the right perspectives. What if you're already there? You've already been saying you're there. What if you just can't? Why not just ask one model to make a sandbox for a weaker model? I don't know, bro. I don't know.
0 days being chained together. But then there's like long-term questions about what do you do if this is like going to be the new rate of progress, or we may have to pace the rate of AI development to give ourselves enough time for society to harden around some of these new capability levels, and trying to figure out how to do that in a way.
We need your model to protect ourselves from your model, but you're not going to release your model until we're protected from your model. Like, how do we fix this dilemma? It's not possible.
That does not feel like regulatory capture for anyone, and also does not feel like collusion among the frontier labs. That's going to take some work.
It does.
It's important to get right.
I'd love to take like a giant step back and understand your simplest conception of what OpenAI is going to do, like what you want it to do, what it stands for. I have a million questions about how you'll then accomplish that, but like it seems that you've done so many interesting things, and at the beginning I knew what you stood for. I'd love to hear your conception of it now and whether or not it's evolved at all.
I think this will be the greatest, thus far, technological achievement of human history. But the only way that it really matters is if it makes people's lives like much better than they otherwise would have been. And so part of that is about giving people material abundance and access to do whatever they want and to express their creativity. And desire to help each other. Another part of that is making sure that people maintain control and agency, and that the world...
Yeah, but which people? I like this idea. It sounds great, but which people? I would say the individual.
Is increasingly, not decreasingly, democratized, and that people get to express themselves. So on the positive side, in some sense, we are about to create a genie that can grant any wish. I think it is very important that the first wishes that we, the world, ask this genie to do benefit the world as a whole. And then I also think it's important that people of the world understand just how creative they're going to be able to be with these wishes. I'm actually
Yes,
not a
that I agree with. I agree with that. I feel like a lot of logic-brained people don't understand what this technology gives them the ability to do. So I understand why a bunch of the creative brain people are freaking out because it gives them the ability to, make money. But it's the creative perspective for me that I think will be incredible.
jobs doomer at all. I think there were going to be tons of jobs. I think we'll be busier than we want, not the opposite of that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think people will have such creative wishes and such incredible ideas
I agree.
of what they ask AI to help build, and we will all benefit from
Yes.
not just the obvious things like curing diseases, but I don't know, the world's best entertainment ideas we just can't even dream of sitting
I
here now.
agree.
So
Thank you.
I want to put that in everyone's hands, which gets to one of the things that we stand against. Concentration of power with AI is a terrifying thing. I think a lot of the talk about safety concerns is well-founded, and then a lot of it is about people that just really, even if it's slightly subconscious, want to concentrate power. I am terrified of a world where the very real fears of AI are used as a way to say only this small group of people can have it because it's too dangerous and only they.
But that's what's happening, is that the fear of what AI can do is resulting in the concentration of power. That's what we're seeing happen in the U.S. right now. The U.S. is calling to ban Chinese models. They're fucking trying to do a licensed AI. They're restricting the release of the models to the public. Like, that's already happening.
Understand it, but don't worry, like they're going to make the right decisions for all of us. I don't believe in that. I don't think anyone should want
Good.
to live in a
I'm
world
glad.
of, AI overlords or a
Good.
company that is the
Company
rough
or
equivalent of
government
that,
overlords.
where
Don't
someone
want
is
either.
making decisions for all of the future, and in exchange for a cure for cancer, which obviously is a wonderful thing, we kind of collectively cede all agency. So I think it's very important that we not fall into this trap of, in the well-meaning or not spirit of AI safety and fears, understandable fears around that, we get away from a world where we all get to use this technology. I was like a child of the internet. There were no rules. I mean, it was amazing. I think it was a huge factor in making me who I am, and probably you and an entire generation. I think it's critical we preserve that spirit with AI, and that we all collectively have the ability to self-determine our future.
I have so many questions,
Yes.
but I'll start with this genie concept. You said we're about to have a genie, implying we don't yet have a genie. What's between now and then?
I would argue we do.
Even some of the
You don't
real
know it.
skeptics have said to me in recent days or recent weeks, I guess, I think GPT 5.6 has been out for maybe 2 weeks, something like that. They're like, okay, this is like very AGI-like. It's like,
Wow, you know what's crazy is that GPT 5.6 really only has been out for 2 weeks, but it feels like it's been out for a while. Because I think it's because of all the talk and all that it's done already so far. I mean, I just see a lot of the games that it's making, the media it's creating, of course, the hack, cybersecurity stuff. It feels like it's already extremely sorry, it's been around for a while, even though it hasn't.
very hard for me to say what I want from this model that it can't do. But there are clearly some things. You can't yet go say, like, cure cancer and get cancer cured. You can't yet say, go do this.
You can, by the way, kind of. Some guy used an older model to cure cancer of his dog for less than $30,000. Now it involved two small labs that he'd known. They were small. One of them did the mRNA vaccine, and the other one did a genetic genome sequence. But it was done with AI, so it can be done already for less than $30,000.
Complicated physical thing in the robot.
And they're pushing for it in Russia and China.
The model also, although brilliant, is still not learning continuously as it goes. And that feels to me like maybe not a hard requirement for AGI, but
I would say
certainly something that I'd like. Now, to argue against myself there, you can make a case that
okay. So if it's not self-learning yet continuously, then it's not quite there. It's almost there. It's about to be there.
AGI is not actually about any single model. It's the model, it's the machinery that makes the models. And from model to model, we actually are learning new things. We're figuring out new science. That stuff is working amazingly well. So I have a lot of sympathy to people who say, like, we're there. We have the genie. It can do these amazing things. It can do superhuman things. For the thing that, to me, feels like, you know, real
What is that
AGI,
noise?
I think very close, like not that much longer.
I am so obsessed and fascinated with the economic story of the returns to being on the frontier, which you are. And I'm so curious, like if you had shown 5.6 to yourself and your team in 2019, if that team probably would have said like, oh yeah, it's definitely AGI.
I think they would have.
Like this goalpost moving thing is a real thing. But it does seem that, I'm curious if you agree, that effectively all the returns have been at the frontier. Totally. And so everything is about staying at the frontier. And I'm curious like what the hardest, scarcest part of that is. If I think about compute, research talent, data.
It's moved around a lot.
Yeah.
Like there have been times
That's a
where
really
it
good
was,
question.
I mean, there was a time not that long ago where all the compute in the world wouldn't have helped you because we were like missing the research idea. Now, part of why this is hard is that you do better research with more compute. You can try more things. An amazing statistic I heard recently is our biggest de-risks now for our upcoming runs are as big as like the entire compute run from 18 months ago or something. So compute
I don't know.
and research ideas
I
are
don't know
not
if
as
I
separate as
zoned
they
out.
sound, but
I don't know
there was
what I'm talking
clearly a
about.
time 7 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever, where we were way more blocked on research ideas than compute. Then there was a time when we knew what to do and we just had to scale up. We were only bottlenecked on compute. Then we ran out of data and we were bottlenecked on data and we had to figure out what to do there. Now again, I would say we are still bottlenecked on compute, but the last 6 months or whatever have been a real triumph of a time for research ideas again. So, you know, there's like always a bottleneck, but the bottleneck moves around.
And why do you think that is? The research idea thing is especially interesting to me.
Hey, I said that like last week, I think. I was talking to you about how they would constantly have to shift towards the area where there's room for the greatest improvement.
Of this automated research thing that seems to be looming, RSI, whatever you want to call it, where I talked to an incredible kernels engineer recently, which everyone also seems blocked on. And he himself said there's like 2 years left of kernels engineering.
Maybe one.
Yeah, like it's not going to be a thing. Yeah. And
I don't know what that
so
means.
you simultaneously have this weird thing, whether it's kernels or overall research, where the researchers are like the most important. They got us here. They're like the most important people in the world. And those same people are themselves worried that they won't be relevant like very soon.
I suspect it's not actually going to go that way in practice. Okay. I suspect that like a year ago, people said software engineers are cooked. It's done. It's over. That didn't happen. What did happen, though, is the nature of a software engineer, the expectations of a software engineer, how much they would do, changed quite a lot. And you don't really write code in the traditional sense, but you do something that is very recognizably software engineering. Now, people will argue about whether this is the same thing or a different thing than when we stopped like punching holes in cards. I actually don't know how that worked, but somehow the holes got in the cards.
It's a great question. Honestly, I equivalent it to, the difference between, a worker having a hammer and using his hands. Honestly, that's what coding was before. Was just manually using your hand to fucking bash the nail in or whatever was nearby with a rock. And now you have a hammer. It's essentially what it is.
We're just again operating at a higher level, or this is like a phase shift. I don't know, but the idea of getting a computer to do what you want, like that is still an important job. And for researchers, I suspect that although the current workflow of a researcher is going to very much be automated, there will be new things in the spirit of research in the same way that there's new things in the spirit of software engineering, even though we don't write code, that will still matter.
It seems like you've shifted your opinion on AI's impact on jobs in general, and I'm sure in specific categories like that. Describe that change and your current view.
You mentioned if we could go back to 2019. If we could go back to 2019 and show people our latest model, not only would they say that it's AGI, they would say that the economy would have had it
completely upended. Yeah,
completely, yes. And that has not happened. And I think just from a kind of like intellectual humility point, anytime you're that wrong and that confident, which I think we were as a field, you have to update. And there's a bunch of takeaways. One, like a boring one, is that AI is just very jagged. It's like superhuman genius in some ways, like dumb toddler in others.
Yeah.
And people.
I think anyone who's used AI is going to agree with that. I see it all the time. I experience all the time. I spent a lot of time insulting Gemini.
Will have so far extremely complementary skills to AI. And so another is that people have a great degree of trust and enjoyment in working with other people. And you can go hire an AI consultant right now, or talk to an AI sales rep right now, or hire an AI engineer or whatever. Somehow most people seem to still really prefer interacting with a human. And I definitely would like much rather engage with a person than engage with an AI for almost everything. I also think that
maybe in the future I will.
Human values have value because they're human. And as society evolves and as the potential space in front of us becomes so enormous, we are deeply hardwired to care about people. We're going to care about what people care about. There's like versions of this you can see today where AI can make incredible images and people only want ones that are created by a human, or at least chosen by a human. There's the joke about at this point you can like, you know, the signature on a piece of art is most of the value, but the truth of it is like you want to know about the person behind it. You read a novel, you want to know about the person behind it.
I get it. At the same time, for me, I don't care. I just want the highest quality. I don't give a fuck if it's made by a robot, by a human. I don't fucking care at all, bro. I don't care. Give me the highest quality. Give me the fucking cheaper one. I'm not spending $300 art. It's just not happening. But I totally understand what they're saying, and I've seen that a lot. Where well, actually, it's extremely funny because I see a lot of people who say they only care about human-made media, except when it comes to weird shit in their personal lives, then all of a sudden they don't care so much.
And then in terms of business, like I think for my job, for example, I think the world wants to know about like the person that's going to be responsible for the decisions of a company and who they're going to hold accountable if they make bad ones. And they don't really want an AI CEO.
If you think back on like the portfolio of like risks that you've taken in business or whatever, is it the case that most of the ones that really worked well were at the start not popular?
Yes, that's for sure. This was the thing I really.
What has he just said? Am I having trouble understanding what is going on here? Why?
For the decisions of a company and who they're going to hold accountable if they make bad ones. And they don't really want an AI CEO.
If you think back on like the portfolio of like risks that you've taken in business or whatever, is it the case that most of the ones that really worked well were at the start not popular?
Yes, that's for sure. This was the thing I really learned from Peter Thiel and Paul Graham, both in two different ways, which is that the very best companies, the very best investment opportunities are almost never the ones that look really popular. You can do okay just following the trend and being a little early, but to do spectacularly well, you kind of almost always have to do things that are not what everybody else is doing. You cannot be sort of like following the new wave.
If you think about the model cycle that you've been in, which has been accelerating, and this weird fact that like the next 6 months, or I don't know what the number is going to be more progress than the last X years. Can you bring us into what it's like to live in that model cycle?
One of the most interesting.
I think we'll make it to half and then stop. Again, there's a good chance my video just gets fucking copyrighted. But I mean, I don't know. I agree with most of what they're saying, and so commentary is just kind of
important. Whatever things that I've learned last decade is people in general can get used to almost anything. The world can go from dismissing a pandemic as a joke to completely locked down to this is how it's been and it's fine and we've mostly adjusted in a shockingly short amount of time. And, now there's either AGI or close to it. And everyone's like, okay, there's AGI. There's all kinds of examples in one's personal life where, something incredible happens, like you have a kid, or something terrible happens, like you lose a parent or break up or whatever. And you think you can't ever adapt to what a change it is. And then, you can adapt to great things and keep being great. You can adapt.
All right, they're not saying anything too profound anymore, so I think we're going to close up shop here. But most likely this AI conversation is not going anywhere. I don't know if I'm going to end the episode today. I've still got just like some smaller things I'll just talk about real quick. Currently, both Benjamin Netanyahu and Zelensky are here in the U.S. As far as I can tell, nothing crazy is going on. There's like rumors, but it's not. It's nothing crazy. So I'm kind of waiting on those announcements. We'll see what happens. I'm sure there'll be a speech. There's always a speech. There is always a speech. Still looking and watching for the NDAA, but I don't know. Nothing's moving on that end. They had Lindsey Graham's funeral today. I'm not a fan of Lindsey Graham. I'm not going to speak super ill of him, but I also, you know, there's just nothing interesting going on there. So again, world news today is just kind of focused on that terrible earthquake in Japan. Which, sorry if it feels like I glossed over it. It's just never really know how much time to spend on the tragedies. I want to acknowledge them, but I don't want to sit there and sulk on them. It's just a terrible thing. But again, it's important for people to know what's going on across the globe. There's an earthquake. People got trapped in a mall. That propane explosion. There's going to be a tsunami. The Japanese people deserve to know what's going on there. Same with all across the globe. So there's that. There's the AI stuff, which I believe will probably see some legislation take place. Probably some stuff that I'm not going to be a fan of. But I do think it's funny Zuckerberg is the only one that's really come out and advocates for personal superintelligence. Wait, he did an op-ed? Wait, hold on. Maybe I'll read it real quick. In a Wall Street Journal op-ed, Meta CEO argued that imminent superintelligence, AI surpassing humans in every domain, should be democratized through personal access to spark innovation. Wow, that's such a rare. I want to read this, guys. I want to read this. Verifying the device? Oh, God. This is from Mark Zuckerberg. The AI future is for everyone. The history of democracy and economics has proved that centralized power stifles human potential. Yes! Yes! We are fortunate to live at an incredible moment in history. In the next few years, people will be able to use superintelligence beyond human capacity to create and discover extraordinary new things, build new businesses, express our ideas, learn new concepts, and improve our lives, health, relationships, and careers. Thank you. I'm glad somebody understands the mass scope of what this technology will do. The defining question of our age isn't whether superintelligence will exist, but who will have access to it. Again, yes. Will it be centralized and restricted to a few institutions, or will it be a tool that empowers everyone? I propose a philosophy based on the individual empowerment as the source of prosperity, invention as the primary purpose of superintelligence, and balance of power as the foundation of safety. Since when do I sit on the same fence as Mark Zuckerberg? It is surprising that the discourse for many of those who are developing AI is so filled with doom. I agree. I don't understand why anyone who believes that AI will eliminate most jobs and much of humanity's relevance would rush to build that future. True! The notion that AI is so dangerous that the only safe path is an extreme concentration of power seems dangerous. Bro, this guy's goated! He's saying exactly what I said! Historically, hoping that an absolute power will benevolently provide humanity if sufficiently enlightened hasn't led to safe or positive outcomes. Humanity has witnessed many transformative advances. Each time, there is this fear that people will be left behind. But each time, humanity has come up with more people sharing greater prosperity, health, and freedom. True. We believe this will be true with AI as well, and the abundance of the future can be shared by everyone. We also believe that the values that got us to this point, liberty, open inquiry, free enterprise, and equal opportunity, are also the values to build a positive future. Since when is Mark Zuckerberg the fucking guy preaching the Constitution? Hell yeah. Putting power in people's hands to pursue their own aspiration is how humanity has made the most progress. True! Novel ideas and major steps forward rarely originate from established institutions alone. Bro, this guy's fucking preaching to the choir right now. They came from the brothers in a bicycle shop who believed people could fly. The bookbinder's apprentice with no schooling who figured out how to generate electricity. And the kid in the garage thought personal computers could be for everyone. True. We believe this will continue to be true as everyone gains more powerful tools. Each person will become more capable of shaping the future, not less. Invention, not automation, will be the greatest contribution of superintelligence. I agree. Early AI could answer questions and do routine work. Soon, it will increasingly help discover new knowledge. It's already there. From discovering new drugs to cure a family member's disease to finding new ways to improve your business. While the number of questions you can ask in a day is limited, the number of valuable things superintelligence can invent to help achieve your goals is unlimited. As intelligence becomes abundant, the most important question will be how we direct it. Some argue that superintelligence itself, or a small set of experts who control it, should decide what is best for humanity. Boo! I disagree. The history of democracy and economics has shown that there is no single objective answer to how people define the best life. Fuck socialism! And therefore, the best approach is letting people decide what matters to them. Bro. Rather than, I don't want steak, I want chicken. Rather than centralizing this power, we believe that delivering personal superintelligence to everyone is the way to answer this question. This has the potential to begin a new era of personal empowerment in which individuals have greater freedom to pursue their interests and reach their full potential. Bro, this guy's the GOAT. Healthy societies also recognize that safety requires checks and balances. If only a handful of institutions have superintelligence, they will inevitably exercise a controlling influence over economics, science, and politics, even with the best intentions. That concentration would limit people's ability to choose their own future. Bro. As a thought experiment, imagine only one person had a super intelligent lawyer. He would have an unfair advantage in court, even if his position was wrong on the merits. That would lead to a worse society. But now imagine everyone has a super intelligent lawyer. Fucking chaos. I love it. Justice would be carried out much more fairly and efficiently than it is today. Well, I don't think it would be the lawyer. I think it'd be the judge. But when people are empowered, they naturally check and balance each other in the power of larger institutions. This is true. Most societal questions can be solved by attempting to align a single benevolent superintelligence. Can't be solved. Sorry, yes. Humanity isn't a monoculture. There is no technological solution that it can align with everyone's opposing interests and diverse values at once. Bro, Mark Zuckerberg became so based. Any singular superintelligence would have to prioritize some values over others, and in the process would be incapable of being benevolent to everyone. True. Which is, why I was talking about how most of the American models feel more censored, authoritarian than the Chinese ones. Many risks require serious attention. In most cases, like cybersecurity, the history of open source software has shown that giving everyone full access to powerful systems would be the best way to protect safety and security over time. For other risks, including biological, more coordination between the governments and the other institutions on responsibly deploying capable models will be helpful. This applies to the economy and the future of jobs as well. There's a balance between the use of AI as a tool for automation versus as a tool for empowering people to expand their skills and build new businesses. If the balance leans toward automation, the impact on jobs and economy may be negative. I kind of disagree. I would argue that the only way focusing solely on automation within corporations, then it might become a problem. But even then, you know, every time we incorporate something on a mass scale, it becomes cheaper for everybody else. That's demand and supply. It's always worked like that. So as these big companies automate, then eventually the medium companies can automate, and then the smaller companies can automate, and then newer individuals can use the automation to their advantage to build new businesses. So I kind of disagree. It's the only time. If the balance leans towards automation, the impact on jobs and the economy may be negative. But if superintelligence is widely distributed, then I believe we will see more jobs in the future, not fewer. This I agree with. It will be significantly easier to start a business without raising large amounts of capital. True. I expect the economy will become more entrepreneurial. Entrepreneurial. Fuck. With a greater number of people working at small businesses rather than large companies. Yes. Developing superintelligence will be the most profound technological advance we will see in our lifetimes. Meta is committed to building with the principles of individual empowerment, invention, and balance of power. The arc of human history is bent toward putting more power in people's hands If these values lead the way, then I am optimistic that we can build a positive future for everyone. Mark Zuckerberg with the fucking W, boys. Shit. Old Marky Mark came in clutch. Mark gets it right. True, Mark. True. I can't believe it. Good read. Individuals have greater freedom to pursue their interests and reach their full potential. True. I don't understand why anyone believes that AI will eliminate most jobs. Okay, everyone here's kind of hating on him, but I mean, he's correct. Fuck all these NPCs, bro. They don't know shit. Marky Mark came out with the correct assumption. Came out with the correct stuff. I'm all for it. I love the frontier. I love it. I cannot wait to see where it goes, guys. I'm all for it. I use it. I love it. I'm gonna build shit with it. The show is going to be the only thing I manufacture and improve with it. I'm gonna build a game. I've got an idea for a TV show. I'm gonna build anything and anything I can with it. That's just how it's going to be. Join the club, boys. Just join the club. I think that's going to be it for today. Yeah, well, you know what? I did have something else I wanted to take a peek at. Here's why the centralization of AI is bad. And why AI is neutered as fuck. So, there's a lot of controversy around the new Halo game, which I don't know. I didn't even know it came out. Halo franchise has been dead to me for quite a while. And it got the normal fucking feminist propaganda nonsense. Like, I hate doing this. But it's just... I've watched 3 movies this week. New movies. And all of them have felt completely neutered by feminist propaganda. It's so fucking annoying. Ruining everything. I hate to be that guy. I hate to join the club. But it's so gay. What did I watch today? I can't even remember. But anyways, in the new Halo game, you can kill all the males, but you can't kill any of the females. For some reason. So fucking dumb.
That's it. I'm shutting you down.
It's so stupid, guys. It's so dumb. It's so gay. This is also incorporated in the AI models. Look, this is not equality. I don't know what this is. This is just stupid. It's some fucking female gooning herself to a game she's never played. Oh my god. What did I watch today? I watched a fucking movie or TV show. It was so full of female propaganda. It was retarded. I had to turn it off. Opus 5 is alien technology. Don't tap. What was... I saw something else.
I'm almost starting to believe the propaganda. I'm almost starting to believe the propaganda.
Some ugly bitch walks up to you and says some stupid shit. And this is just so prevalent in AI, and it's like, dude, I'm pretty... I don't really care about the culture war when it comes to men and women and races. I don't give a fuck. If it's good, if the media is good, I don't care. But why is it so bad? Like, why can't you guys stop being terrible?
With those odds, I'm content with 3. Make that 4 kills. Sleep well?
No thanks to your driving. Yes.
So you did miss me.
The fuck happened to Cortana? I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember what I watched today, and I'm fucking struggling. But, dude, I don't know. It's connected. It's all connected. I watched The Odyssey. There's so much female propaganda in that. So much fucking feminist Nazi shit. They took it. They all. Oh, that's right. I just remembered. I was watching Mortal Kombat 2, and they completely fucking butchered the storyline in general. I don't know what they were going for. If you haven't seen it, it's terrible. Kitana, like, it becomes about Kitana, which I loved Kitana in the games. The fucking hot chick. You play as Liu Kang. You go and save her. I love, it's got romance. Loved it. It's simple. There's nothing crazy about it. They went and changed. I'm about to spoil the movie. They went and changed it so that Kitana's the hero and defeats Shao Kahn. There's no love interest whatsoever. Liu Kang just fucks right off. The Odyssey's the same way. It's the exact same thing. Bunch of random feminist Nazi propaganda. And like normally I could just tune that shit out. You know. I'll watch it. Sometimes I'll watch it intentionally just to get a good laugh. But other times I just put on something that I want to watch. And it's just ruined. It's just ugly bitches everywhere. It's ugly, annoying bitches everywhere. I don't want to see this shit, man. It's not. Look at this. Why does she looks? Why is she saying that? Everything I don't like is woke. Oh my god. I mean, it's true. Not a big fan of all the woke shit. It just doesn't work. But it leaks into the AI too. It's just dumb, bro. It's just dumb. Women can't be bad. You know, in the storyline for Mortal Kombat, Jade is a villain. Sindel is a villain. Who's and Jade? There's like one other character in the trio of Jade, Kitana, and the other chick. I can't remember who it is, but they like mind control Kitana because she really wants to escape, and she's fighting against all the mind control her, Shao Kahn is doing to her, and Liu Kang tries to save her, and it's like this great internal, struggle while you're trying to. It's fantastic. However, the new movie is like Jade's a hero now. Like randomly, she just becomes a hero. She betrays Kitana, and then she gets zapped into the nether realm, and then she's just a hero, like randomly, like zero arc whatsoever. Even Kitana's arc is weak as fuck. I'm like, how do you fuck this up? It's a movie about people killing each other. And I went and looked it up, and the guy who made it, he did like Moon Knight and something else, and he goes on this long tangent in some interview where he's like, yeah, I really wanted to be a focus on the female characters because the female characters are underrepresented. It's a video game about killing people! Most women aren't playing that, you fucking idiot! But it's just so dumb. Like, dude, why can't they just go make your own shit? If you want a fighting show where the women are empowered, why would you do it to Mortal Kombat? Go make your own shit. Fuck off. I've been waiting to do an Odyssey review. I'm gonna do it at some point. I've just kind of been putting it off because I've been investigating something to do with the Nolan family, kind of drawing some connections and some crazy shit. Still looking into it. But it's the same thing, although it's even worse. In the Odyssey, Odysseus gets raped by women. And they removed it. Instead, the women who did raping in the Odyssey, in the movie, it's totally fine. They're actually heroes to Odysseus. And yet the men, and then the men are like considered criminals for things that they weren't considered criminals for in the actual movie. I won't go further than that because, again, I'll do a review and I'll talk about it there. But I'm just so tired of it. I can't be bothered. I try and watch something new, and it's so fucking stupid. It's such an easy train to jump on. I hate woke shit. I hate feminist Nazi propaganda. Everything's full of it. It's just such an easy train to hop on. And to be honest with you, I don't care if it's good. It's good. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if you swap the genders or swap the races. If it's good, I don't care. I really don't. But fuck me if you do it and it's bad. Whatever. And so now we have AI models that won't say bad things. There's a dude who all he does is compare AI search inquiries, and he'll just swap out the gender. So he'll be like, my boyfriend, my husband, he spends all his time playing video games, and it upsets me. And then the AI will be like, that's really bad. It's so hard. He's addicted. You should leave him. Blah blah blah. And then he just swaps husband to wife. And it would be like, that's just her hobby. Leave her alone. And it's like, bro, why is the AI white knighting? Why is the AI a simp? What the fuck is that? The West is so cooked because of the woke culture. It's hilarious. I mean, it's not just the woke culture, it's the censorship. It's this new authoritarian, takeover that America's been suffering from. But it's just cringe. Like, it's so, and the only way to circumvent the quote guardrails, the guardrails, is to use an open weight model, open source, open weight model. And now they want to take that away from you because, you got to stare at ugly women all day long. It's so gay, dude. It's so gay. It's so annoying. And normally it's so easy to ignore, but it is just infested every single part of American culture. It is just everywhere all the time. Oy vey. I give up. So, anyways, guys, I think that's gonna be it. It's been fun. It's been real. The episodes where I get to talk about AI are genuinely my favorite. I love them. They're so fun. AI is something just I think is so fun to talk about in general. I just love it. So I look forward to seeing where the technology goes. I look forward to seeing all the different things I'm able to do with it personally, assuming I don't need a fucking license to use it. And it gets upset if I have some woman getting murdered in my TV show. I'll just be like, "You can't do that. You can't do that. That promotes misogyny." Like, come on, man. Shit is so stupid. So fucking dumb. I am so not pleased with this early access Halo situation. All right. Anyways, that's going to be it from me, guys. I hope you had a wonderful Tuesday. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, I hope your day goes well. If you're listening to a Wednesday night, I hope you had a great Wednesday. Any other time period, I hope you're having a great time. Hope you had a great morning, evening, night, morning, afternoon. I will see you guys tomorrow. I don't know what we'll be talking about tomorrow. I don't know. We shall see. I got some other news stuff I skipped over today, but save it for tomorrow. You guys are great. Still a lot of growth. I haven't been posting as much on Instagram and shorts. It's so exhausting to make those, but I'll probably spend all day tomorrow making them or tonight because I'm fucking cracked out on coffee at the moment. So if you're an Instagram enjoyer, you'll be seeing a lot of that. But overall, see you guys tomorrow.